We've got a great day of tech news. The first story has to do with a Chinese or internationally only released phone, a phone that does not come out here in America, the Xiaomi Mix Flip. Goes for $9.99 on GizTop. This is a site that you can reliably count on. I've bought phones through them. I know Flossie uses this site to buy some of his international phones that he imports. You can see that it's a great flip phone. It's got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It's got a big time camera on there. It's got 12 or 16 gigs of RAM, all the way up to 1 terabyte of storage, a 4780 milliamp battery, 67 wired fast charging. And the craziest thing maybe of all is that it has been confirmed that the Mix Flip is the first Xiaomi phone ever to be released in years that fully supports nearly all of the US 5G bands. So if you wanted to import this, you have a really good opportunity to, not only through GizTop, but also, which I have it linked down below if you want to pick it up, but also because of the fact that it's compatible with basically all of the 5G bands here in America. I thought this was really cool. Hopefully we'll see more of this as well. So if you want to import these and be happy with the support that you're getting in terms of speed, reliability on the network that you're connected to, this is a great step. We've been talking about the One UI 7 beta, and some information came out today that it might be delayed. Max Chamber is reporting that One UI 7 beta would be available for download today. The original launch schedule is confirmed by Samsung and Ice Universe. Sam Mobile suggests that this may be because they are still actively working on One UI 6.1.1, which launched with the Z Flip 6 and Fold 6. Additionally, both Ice Universe and Chun report that the current internal beta is very buggy, which could be another reason for the delay of the public beta. Currently gathering information and in talks with my sources. So basically, it looks like if you were hoping to download that One UI 7 beta today or sometime this week, it might be pushed back another week or two before we get our hands on this. If you haven't seen my videos that I've reported on the last couple of days, I definitely suggest you look back into my couple of videos ago and see what's going on with all of that and what you're expecting to get, because it is looking like a pretty big change. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim, or Ultra, whatever you want to call it, is due to come out in October in China and South Korea. And we know it's going to be slimmer, and we know some of the specs. We know that it's supposed to have a better camera as well versus the Z Fold 6, but actually how much slimmer is it? Well, some information is coming out from the Elect over in South Korea, and industry sources are reporting that the Z Fold 6 Slim model will be 11.5 millimeters. Now, the Z Fold 6, the one we have right now, is 12.1 millimeters thick, which is really thin. And they can get it less than 0.6 millimeters on the Fold Slim because of the fact that they're removing the digitizers. The digitizers each are 0.3 millimeters, and by removing that, they're able to make the phone slimmer. So this isn't like a huge engineering change, and without the digitizer, it means you can't use an S Pen on the Fold 6 Slim. So it comes down to, you know, here in America, if we had the option of getting the slimmer Z Fold 6 with no S Pen support or the Fold 6 with S Pen support, I'll be honest, I think I'd probably choose the slimmer one, not because I want it and I need it to be slimmer, but I don't need the S Pen support. And if they could throw other things in there in terms of making the phone better, maybe a better camera, a better this, a better that, I think I'd be more apt to grab that version versus the one with the digitizers built in. The Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold is literally 2 weeks away from being launched, being introduced to the world, and we know a lot about this phone. Seems that every single week we learn something new, and this is probably, I think, the third time I'm doing one of these types of videos, and stuff continually changes and is being added to this list, and I wanted to go through it and tell you guys all about the Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold. So first of all, it's gonna have the Tensor G4 processor, 16 gigs of RAM. This is massive. This is a ton of RAM for this phone. Google's already making the changes. Samsung did not with their 24 series. They didn't do it with the Z Fold 6, but Google's doing it with their Pixel 9 Pro Fold. So this is awesome. So better performance with that G4 in terms of better gaming, better video editing, photo editing, day-to-day tasks, and then the 16 gigs of RAM to just put a complete icing all over that cake. It's going to be great performance for years to come. Now, will it be better than Snapdragon 8 Gen 3? No, it will not, but it will be optimized with the software and everything to give you a fantastic, wonderful experience for years to come. This thing will be a speed demon and just day-to-day tasks for years to come. So do not worry about that. Storage, we'll see 256 and 512. There's always the possibility we will see 1 terabyte. I didn't put it in there just because 256 and 512 is a pretty strong rumor at that. 8.02 main Super Actual Flex display. Now, this is going to be the biggest folding phone in North America and a lot of other parts of the world that you can get. Not the biggest in the world, but this is massive. This is a lot bigger than a Z Fold 6, which is 7.6 inches on that inside display, and it's a little bit bigger than the display on the OnePlus Open, which I'm drawing a blank. Is that 7.8, 7.7? I can't remember, but it's a little bit bigger than that as well. Outside display, 6.3 inches, which matches the Galaxy Z Fold 6, but it has a different aspect ratio, so it's gonna be a little bit more like a traditional phone. It won't be as skinny, but it will be more, and it probably won't be as tall if I remember correctly. So that's what you got going on with that. So I'm excited about the displays. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about this phone. Now we found out the nits, 1600 nits. Galaxy Z Fold 6 is brighter. That is 2000 nits of brightness. And the previous generation of the Pixel Fold was 1000 nits, and then it peaked out at 1450 nits. So we should hopefully see some better brightness on there. It's not the brightest anybody has, but it is brighter. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it matches what we got on the Z Fold 5. Might even beat it if I'm not mistaken. So that's always a nice change with that as well. 4560 milliamp battery, which is a pretty good battery, smaller than what they had in the Pixel Fold. But I think with the Tensor G4, the new software they've got running on this, and the overall, what they know about the phone, I think that's what's gonna keep it either equal or better battery life in general. 23 watt charging, we don't know for sure on this one, but I can't imagine it's gonna be any more than 30, but it'll probably be about 23 watts. 48 megapixel camera, 10.5 ultra wide, 10.8 telephoto, and a 10 megapixel selfie. So that's for sure. There's already been official leaked documents on that, and that again is no surprise with what we see on there. They're not the best cameras that Pixel's releasing this year in terms of specs, but I'd have to guess that these are going to take better photos than a Z Fold 6 and probably better than a OnePlus Open. Pixel still is my favorite photo taking camera. Not always my favorite video, sometimes it is, but definitely photos it usually is. So I have high hopes for this one. 8K video recording is supposed to be added to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold because of the Tensor G4 processor that can handle it, and then also has 16 gigs of RAM, so it should be no problem to do 8K video. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this would be the first time 8K video recording has been on a Pixel phone, definitely a Pixel Fold phone for sure. AI, we are hearing it's gonna have emergency SOS and Pixel screenshots. Emergency SOS, it's gonna alert you to threats that are near you, such as flooding, typhoons, things like that. It's also going to alert you in general to just natural disasters, again, that are near you. It's also supposed to help you with viruses and anything that's supposed to kind of like ruin your phone, so that's a good thing. And then Pixel screenshots is something that's going to allow you to remember things. I don't know if it's just going to be you take a screenshot and that's how it works, but it's something to do with you being able to remember things a little bit easier that you saw on your phone. 7 years of security in firmware updates. You might see it called Pixel drops. That just means anytime they push out a new OS version, a new Android version, this will get it for the next 7 years. This matches what you get on the Galaxy Z Fold 6, so a wonderful addition to that, especially if you like to keep your phones for that many years. August 13th is the launch. Reported release date should be August 20th. I don't expect anything later than August 27th, but I would guess August 20th will be the release date. And then price, previously I was thinking $1699, but then after all of the changes and updates and improvements with this phone, I think $17.99, if not $18.99 will be the pricing for this. Now, I think they'll have promotions and things like that in terms of really good trade-ins and maybe even some money off if you pre-order it. So I don't expect the $17.99 to be a hard figure of a price that you'll pay, because I think they'll have promotions and things going on. But I think retail-wise, that will be the price. Let's start it off with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. It will come with 16 gigs of RAM. We know this because Ice Universe had tweeted it out a couple days ago. I can't find the tweet, but I do know I remember seeing it, and I know that it exists. So 16 gigs of RAM in the Galaxy S25 Ultra. This is good news for the longevity of the device, the performance of the device, and it's about damn time they went back to 16 gigs of RAM. It's been, if I'm not mistaken, the S20 Ultra had 16 gigs of RAM and like 1 terabyte of storage, and then they dropped everything down to 8 and 12 gigs of RAM on that line, and now 5 years, 6 years later, they're going back to it. It's pretty insane, but at least we're back here, and it's a sign of good jumping in terms of specs to come to that phone. The next couple stories are about Google Pixel devices. The first one is the Pixel Buds. They are going to come in at a price of $229 or 219 Great British pounds and 249 euros. They are due to be released or announced August 13th, and they should be released a week or two. Next two stories are about the Google Pixel 9 Pro, and you can throw in the Pixel 9 Pro as well. The first one has to do with the Tensor G4. In terms of day-to-day performance, it's going to be great, but in terms of just raw horsepower, it's a bare minimum change over the Tensor G3. The benchmarks that are coming out about this are that it's going to give a 11% improvement in single core performance and only 3% in multi-core performance. And you can see this little chart here that shows off the differences between the Tensor G4 and the Tensor G3 versus the 9 Pro XL and 8 Pro. And again, not a huge difference for that. So you're not going to be a speed demon on gaming or video editing. Most people don't video edit, I doubt, on their phones that watch this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But gaming, hardcore gaming, it's not going to really be a great device for that. Medium to medium high settings on there. But we're not done. There's a little bit of good news, a little bit of bad news that has to do with the lightness and the overall build of it. So first of all, let's talk about the build, and that being the thinness of it. This is coming from Android headlines, who are saying that the device, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, will be 10.5 millimeters, and that will be one of the thinnest phones, not the record holder, which is at 9.2 millimeters, and that's the Honor Magic V3. But again, 10.5 millimeters. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 comes in at 12.1 millimeters. So you can see that the Fold 2, Fold 9 Pro, is a lot thinner, 10.5 versus 12.1. And then it's even thinner than the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim or Ultra, coming in at 11.5. So thinness is obviously on the side of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And then what about the weight? Well, the weight of this device, Google has shaved off about 10% off the weight of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. It still is one of the heaviest foldables on the market at 257 grams. The Magic V3 is 226 grams, and the Z Fold 6 is 239 grams. The 257 grams is really close to what the Galaxy Z Fold 5 weighed. That weighed in at about 4 grams less. So it's kind of like a Z Fold 4 in terms of weight, but a lot thinner. So that's what we're looking at. A little bit of good, a little bit of bad, or just okay. I guess you wouldn't call it bad, just like on there. I still am very interested in that, especially with that huge display on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I put a video out earlier today showing that I had canceled my Samsung.com order and got a Galaxy Z Fold 6 Pink from Best Buy, and that is true. It arrived yesterday, and I came to a point where my wife, who still wasn't using hers, I was using her blue one. It had come to the point where she hadn't seen it, and she was like, hey, maybe I want the pink one. So she got home yesterday, and because right now she has a Galaxy Z Fold 5, and she was like, hey, let's see, I want to see which one I want. She kept going back and forth, and come to the end of this, the decision that she's making, she's decided to not upgrade, and that left me with the pink or the blue at that point. And I already had the blue pretty much set up the way I wanted it to be at that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep the blue, also because of the fact that the blue one was purchased directly from Samsung.com, and I'll be able to get the trade-in value for the phone and a much better price on that phone. So I'm gonna keep the blue one and return the pink one later today to Best Buy. But I just wanted to let you know, in case you see me with the blue phone in future videos, I've kept the blue, returned the pink one, and that's where we're lying. And my wife is gonna stick with the 5. For some reason, she didn't like the squared off edges. She likes it rounded. She thinks the Fold 5 looks better as well. You know, everyone's got their own opinion, own decision, so I just thought I'd let that be known, just in case you're curious and you see my phone being different than the color that I had suggested that I would have. But I did want to go into a bunch of stories today. The first one is about the OnePlus Open. They have a new crimson red color, and I don't know if I love the color. It's okay. So, you know, it is a crimson bloodish color. Out of the 3 colors there, I don't know which one. I'd probably choose the green or the black. Red would probably be my 3rd. I'd have to see the red in person. But if you do buy it though, and I'll link it down below if you want to pick up a OnePlus Open, because it's still a awesome phone. They have some promos going on right now where you can get 30% off the watch. You can get OnePlus users will get Microsoft 365 for 3 months. You can get the colors in 4 major Android updates and 5 years of security updates. Crimson Red guaranteed 3 Android updates and 4 years of security updates. So yeah, check it out if you want to pick that phone up. Next up is about the Google Pixel 9 Fold. This phone, we keep learning more and more, and a new leak has come out about it. A couple of things actually, and I wanted to talk about them. The first one is being the price. According to OnLeaks, the 9 Pro Fold price will come in 2 variants, 256 and 512, and the price will be $1799 for the 256 and $1919 for the 512. This ends up being the same exact price as it was last year. Especially with all these changes, it's actually not a bad thing overall. The 512, hopefully they'll have a free storage upgrade. I can't remember if they did last year. Hopefully they do, because that was looking like a very expensive phone at 512 gigabytes. Also, some feature things here. The 9 Pro Fold will come with AI features, including Circle to Search, Magic Editor, and Best Take. It also has a new Add Me feature that uses AI to add someone to a group shot. It looks like the feature requires the photo to be taken in the same place, and AI will adjust to make it look like the group was together. That's actually really cool, to be able to take a group photo, someone's missing from it, and you're able to add that person in really easily. I know you can do that with like Canva or Photoshop, but for people that don't want to mess with all that stuff and they just want to kind of have it be an automatic thing and mold 2 photos together and make it look like they're together, that is a really cool thing. I'm looking forward to that feature very much. So hopefully it makes its way to the Galaxy Z Fold 6 as well, because they were getting a lot of the same Google features in general. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 has been out for a few weeks at this point, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is going to be announced on August 13th and then released a week or 2 later. And I wanted to go through the things that are better that we know so far on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold versus the Galaxy Z Fold 6, because basically these phones are the same price. They both start off at $1,799, but there's a few key categories that I've highlighted that show that this phone is better in these ways. Now, on the grand overall scheme of things, do I know that it's a better phone? No, I don't, but I wanted to point out some key features that most likely are, and obviously, as you can see in front of us, are. So let's talk about those features. The first being 16 gigs of RAM. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 only has 12 gigs of RAM. It's had 12 gigs of RAM, I think, since its inception, which was 6 years ago. They have not pushed the RAM up since then. Maybe it was 8 the first one, but basically it's been 12 gigs of RAM forever on this phone. And RAM, if you didn't know, is good for if you have a lot of apps open. It'll help keep those apps open. It's good with performance and prolonging the performance of the device as apps need and want more power, they'll obviously pull it from not only the processor, but sometimes they need more RAM as well. So it helps with the overall usage of the phone. Obviously the displays across the board, in my eyes, are better. Why? They're bigger. You get 8 inches versus 7.6 inches on the main display of the Z Fold 6. So you're getting another 0.4 inches bigger, which is great for multitasking, gaming. When you're looking at a website, everything's gonna look bigger on this phone. Websites, videos, everything will look bigger. And that's kind of exciting. I wish Samsung finally changed the Z Fold 6 inside display. They didn't, but it's still a great size. Don't get me wrong. When I'm saying, that 8 is in my eyes is potentially better than the 7.6, it's just because it's bigger, but we'll wait and see when we get our actual hands-on with the phone. The other part of that is the outside display, 6.3 inches, but then you're gonna say, well, Greg, Galaxy Z Fold 6 is also 6.3 inches, but the 6.3 inches on the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is taller and skinnier, whereas on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it's shorter and wider, which I would probably rather have, a wider display versus a taller display. And obviously that's a feeling, it's a want, it's a need. And for me, I feel like the fatter, it would be more exciting and usable for me than the skinnier and taller, especially most text, obviously, as you know, goes across. It's gonna truncate that and make it a lot skinnier and on top of each other, more so than it would be to be able to go wider out. Also, 2700 nits of brightness on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold displays. That's more than the Galaxy Z Fold 6. These max out at about 2600 nits of brightness. So it's 100 nits more, not a lot, but it's still a win, right? That's great for outdoor viewing. It's great for any kind of bright light that's beamed into your display so that you can see it better, and that's a win overall. Again, both are so close, it's almost a tie, let's be honest. The battery is bigger by 250 milliamps on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. It's got 4650 milliamps on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold versus 4400 milliamps on the Galaxy Fold 6. And obviously getting better battery life, prolonged usage out of this. We'll wait and see if it actually ends up having better battery life. But the notion that it could have better battery life because of the bigger battery obviously makes sense. It's just it just matters if the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is optimized, if the processor sips rather than chugs battery life. So it all depends on a couple things, but it does have a bigger battery. The dimensions, 155 by 2 by 77.1 by 10.5. That last number, that's how thin it is. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 is 12.1 millimeters thick when closed. Or is it when it's open? I forget. Either way, it's definitely thinner on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold at 10.5 millimeters. This is great. It's wider, obviously, and that's how they can make it thinner, but it's a lot thinner than a Galaxy Z Fold 6. And again, that's gonna be a win in a lot of people's books. You put a thin case on, like I know I'm using this thin-born case, and this is super thin, and it makes my phone feel so much thinner, and it's great in that regard. I'm loving how thin this phone feels versus, my last case, which is still a great case by spec, but it felt big, especially compared to this thin case. So putting a thin case on this is gonna feel even better than that. Now, the other couple things, the cameras, we don't fully know the cameras if they're gonna be better or not, but I know from past experience, I generally like the Pixel cameras, especially with selfies and sometimes with videos, better than the Galaxy side. They're sharper, they are crisper, and that's really important. I love a sharp, crisp photo. I also like it to be bright. Sometimes the Pixel's photos just aren't as bright as, say, you would get on a Samsung, but Samsung's been changing a lot of their design technology in terms of like the displays aren't as vibrant purposefully. The pictures sometimes aren't as vibrant as we had seen in the past. So this might make them all aligned in the color category, but I'll be hard pressed to think that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold won't take and have photos that look better than the Galaxy Z Fold 6. I mean, again, I'll remain in the middle of this, but I have to guess. If I had to choose, I would guess that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold will end up taking better photos. Don't know that for sure, but just from past experience, what I've seen with these two phones. Now, doesn't mean that the Galaxy Z Fold 6 in the grand scheme of everything isn't better. Obviously, it has a more powerful processor, has more storage capabilities potentially. We might see a 1 terabyte on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. It's lighter. The charging is probably going to end up being a little faster potentially on here. We don't know for sure, but it might be. They're going to get the same amount of years of update 7. The AI features are the same, but a little bit different in time. So there's some things here that are same or equal, but the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, just spec to spec, in a lot of ways looks like a better phone. Recently, we've been talking about how thin the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is compared to its competitors, especially the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And we also mentioned that it's not as thin as some of the Chinese foldables, as well as those that get into the 10 millimeters of thickness. Well, I haven't tried those Chinese foldables, at least the new generation of ones, and it seems it's not all what it's cracked up to be. The reason being is that the sound doesn't seem to be as good on those versus the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Ice Universe has said, I think the blind pursuit of foldable phones' thinness must have a major premise. It is necessary to ensure that the basic audio-visual functions are powerful. However, the sound quality of the current 10mm smartphones, the folding phones, speaker is really not as good as that of a conventional mobile phone. This will increase its sense of cheapness and make you feel like this is a product that is imperfect and a finished product. Good sound quality and good screen are the things that foldable mobile phones should pursue more often. He goes on to say in another tweet, just to give you a little bit more context to this, that when he turned on the speaker on the contrast panoramic sound, I didn't care about its thickness at all. I compared the folding machine with the thinner thickness in the mall. Their sound quality is lost to the Fold 6. So it's good news. I mean, again, I haven't tried them, but one thing I noticed about the Fold 6 is the sound is awesome. It's better than the Fold 5, which was even thicker than this one. And the sound is a really, really good upgrade on the Fold 6. They really improved it a lot. So I can only imagine how much better it is versus a much thinner foldable phone like the ones that are in China. Now, the One UI 7 update for beta should be out potentially this week, maybe a little bit later than that. But we've kind of already gone through a list of changes that it's going to see, but this is even more comprehensive, and I wanted to go through this list with you guys. So system application icons have been replaced. So they've updated the icons, like we've mentioned that before. You're gonna see new looks to a lot of the system icons, such as the gallery app, the settings, things like that. New background interface, new control area at the bottom of the lock screen, so you can customize that and control it a little bit more. Adjustment of shortcut icons in the left and right corners of the lock screen. Pull down the shortcut bar notification can be independently merged, so you can go one on the right, one on the left. So they have that option now, but I think they had that. Did they? No, other phones have that. The pill in the upper left corner notification bar can be changed and control more apps. So you're gonna have a little pill on the top left of your phone. You can tap that and it'll interact and let you control an app in different ways now, which is kind of cool. The added interruption optimized app opening and closing animation curve. So the animations have been improved on the phone. New battery icons and charging animation bars. They're gonna be pill shaped instead of like square shaped, I guess, or circular or whatever. New camera interface. They've changed all the camera functions and put them at the bottom of it inside the camera app. Added 5G SMS messages. Not sure what that means because I have 5G, whatever. New notification pop-up and closing animation. Back to the animations are going to be improved. Added an unlock animation. New button touch and page turn animations. You can see animations are getting a lot of updates on this. Added a huge number of desktop widgets of various sizes. So if you like adding widgets to your phone, you're going to be able to do that. A lot more, I guess so. Added more lock screen widgets. Again, there you go with widgets. And added large folders. So a bunch of stuff in there. With a lot of the stuff we kind of already knew, but I think this is going to be, and we've heard it's going to be the biggest One UI update ever, in a long time at least. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be out very, very soon. Hopefully this week. maybe next week, we'll see, because like I said, it's been delayed, but we'll see what they end up doing that. What feature are you most looking forward to on the One UI 7? Let me know in the comments down below. Me, real quick, I'd probably say the animations, like having better, faster animations. Other than that, I think just the overall look and feel of it, just feeling different and looking a little bit different. I think that as well. Remember, the Galaxy S10, the Tab S10, should be out in a couple of months, probably like October should be the release date. So I guess it's a few months, you could say. And that tablet is going to have, the series of tablet is going to have a non-Snapdragon processor. Remember, it's going to have the MediaTek processor. We've heard some good things about this processor, so not all is lost. MediaTek does make high-end processors, and we're finally seeing some benchmarks on the Galaxy Tab S10. This one specifically is from the Tab S10 Plus with the Dimensity 9300 Plus, running Android 14 with 12 gigs of RAM, has a single core score of 2170 and a multi-core score of 7293, the most powerful Galaxy Tab ever. And the Galaxy Tab S10 series will be over 40% faster in CPU performance, and also in GPU performance, it'll be over 30% faster. So some nice gains on this that'll help with gaming and everything else that you're gonna wanna do. It's gonna be high intensity, and the overall fit, feel, and finish with the new software should be a really nice upgrade in terms of what you feel on a day-to-day basis, but then also, again, with everything else you throw at this. I'm kind of excited about this. I know my son tries to play Fortnite sometimes, especially lately, and it gets a little bit slowed down. So I'm hoping that these 30 and 40% games can really help with that performance, but we'll wait and see. Now, the Galaxy S24 series is going to get the One UI 7 beta here in America, but there are definitely some caveats to that in terms of who and when you will receive this. Now, when it's supposed to be released sometime this coming week. And that's a good thing. That's literally just a couple days away. I don't think it'll be Monday. It'll probably be like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in that range, but it should be coming out. But then the other part of it is the following. This is taking on this website, this Samsung website, I should say. One UI 7 beta will be available in the US, but not for all consumers. And the company will avail the firmware to carrier unlocked models in the country. So you have to have an unlocked version of the S24 series in order to get the One UI 7 beta. Meanwhile, carrier locked models are not eligible for the beta firmware given previous rollouts. T-Mobile is an exception here. Despite incompatibility with carrier variants, Samsung and T-Mobile offer One UI beta trials to Samsung Galaxy users this year as well. The S24 series will be eligible to test the beta alongside the unlocked model. So you have to have an unlocked version of the Galaxy S24, and you should be fine with getting it no matter which carrier you're on. And then you should also, if you have a locked version of the phone, the only locked version is sounding like you'll have to be on T-Mobile, not AT&T or Verizon. I have the unlocked version, so I should be okay, but we'll wait and see what happens with that. Are you gonna download the beta? And which carrier are you on, so that, or maybe you have the unlocked. Let me know if you have the unlocked or locked. Let me know in the comments down below. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you down the road. Peace.